Hi guys, that's our stream back. Sorry for long absence by holidays and a lot of stuff. David Zadov is with me, and today we're going to talk about pretty complex issue. Not even one, probably. Let's start off the recent round diplomacy around the Russia-Ukrainian conflict, and we see that all circles of diplomacy already done. Uh, Teams of Ukrainian teams 3 times already spoke to Americans. Americans twice already spoke to Russians. Trump already spoke to Putin in the beginning of it. And then we had Rubio in Geneva meeting Europeans. Then Europeans spoke to Zelensky many times. Last time, yesterday, that finished the round. The issues at the table were that out of that 28 point one peace plan that Trump presented, 3 points were the crucial main importance, like territory. Russia won remaining 11.3% of Donbas region to be vacated by Ukrainian troops. Russia won limitation in this plan. Ukraine got the limits on the number of troops eventually, and also will forever forfeit the bid to join NATO. That those 3 sticking points were the main got the main opposition from Ukrainian side, and Zelensky, leaving that meeting of coalition of willing in London, said that we're not ready to cede any territory, we're not ready to abstain forever from NATO membership, and we're not ready to put limits on our army. And also, it's very another topic of disagreement as use of Russian money frozen in European banks for reparation credits for Ukraine. Ukraine is not ready to do not try to get those money. That's what's happening. And the question is now what? Because Trump already been very much critical of Zelensky for the last couple of days, and he even said that it's no longer Ukraine is no longer democracy, and also that Ukraine need elections, which Ukraine cannot have because of the war. And according to Ukrainian constitution, elections cannot be held. It cannot be held in country when it's in a war and millions of people, citizens of Ukraine, are not in Ukraine. They escaped. They refugees in other countries. So it's a very complex issue. Meanwhile, we have to say that the Russian troops are slowly advancing in Donbass. And reports of deserting Ukrainian soldiers are mounting, even American press are reporting on this actively. Not only American press, it's also Al Jazeera. So we're using pro-Ukrainian sources of information, by the way. So they are saying, and everything is going on top of corruption, huge corruption scandal in Kyiv, which American press gave huge coverage, what was going on over there. That already toppled the top aide to Zelensky and chief of his office, chief of his staff, and a couple of ministers. And now those 2 anti-corruption agencies in Kyiv, they are ready to present other documents and evidence. And everybody is scared that they're going to hear the voice of the president on those records. And that can be also very um, bad for peace prospect, because even if that is going to be open and discovered, then officially, I mean, everybody understands it's probably very hard for him not to know what's going on. So now, if it would be officially exposed, then any idea of ceding territories or going for any compromise with Russia will not be accepted from society, because president has president wouldn't have any leverage and popularity to take those decisions. So that's very bad for peace perspective also. So what's your take on all of that?
Well, I think that all the stuff you just stated has been most of the Russian narrative for the past almost 4 years. Wait, has it already been 4 years? Yeah, almost 4 years, right? Firstly, uh, on the elections, Zelensky has already said, the news came out a couple hours ago, I think, that he is completely willing and ready to do elections, right? The only thing he asks for is the guarantee of his safety during the elections, and he has to wait 60 to 90 days for the parliament to arrange like the new legislation to allow the election during martial law, right? So he is totally fine with the idea of election if Trump really cares about it that much. Um, the slow advance in Donbass, it would be like overstating it to call it an advance, right? It would take like a century to reach the next major city at this rate
They
of
say
advancement, right?
2030, even for most pessimistic, British side of experts who are analyzing the war, they're saying that if he really want to take those 11% of Donbass by force, according to pace he had like a month ago, they said that the war will need to be continued till 2030 for him to get it.
Mm.
That's what they say.
They said it for Zelensky or for Putin?
For Putin, 2030.
So it would not even be like
They say 4 more years.
2030 to Kiev?
No, nobody's talking about Kiev, talking about only Donbass. Nobody's talking about Kiev.
Yeah, so 2030 for Donbass, and then you have like 20 more provinces to conquer. So have fun with that.
Who said he
Right.
needs all to conquer everything? Nobody's saying about
Because
nobody's
because the war is going to continue until Ukraine meets its perceived goals, and Europe at least is going to continue support until Ukraine gets its territory back or is allowed to join
But
NATO.
it cannot get territory back. It's just a suicide, David.
Yeah.
The only they can do for last 2 years, they're just losing.
What?
Yeah,
Every
losing
day
territories.
No, they're losing like strips, very small strips that you could walk across in 2
You
minutes.
have to watch
Like
Telegram channels. They give you exact
that
numbers.
I've been closely following the
Okay.
daily updates of Ukrainian news every day.
Mhm.
And I've been looking at like the mapped out versions of the war,
Mhm. Mhm.
and they show the daily progress. Progress
Mhm.
could definitely not be seen on the map, and even if you zoom in very closely, the change is barely there.
You have to watch alternative channels too, then I have to tell you. They're
Until
losing about, on certain directions, they lose 2-3 kilometers a day.
That's not
It is true. On
Where,
certain
what
directions,
direction are they
they lose maybe kilometer. On certain directions, there is hard, heavy position fight. Sometimes they do counterattack. Sometimes they can get a little bit back, but all like a trend, they're losing territory every day. They're not getting anything back yet.
There is not one place
Mm.
in Ukraine where they are losing there's not one front in Ukraine where they are losing a kilometer a day, let alone 3 kilometers.
Oh,
They are
no,
not
you're
losing,
mistaken.
They are
There,
losing
okay.
fractions.
I'm sorry. I'm
No,
sorry. No. In certain
go ahead.
place, right?
All right,
You're
so
right. But
you could talk for 50 minutes, but I can't even finish.
no. But
So
you're
that's fine.
saying wrong information.
If you're here to yell at
We
me,
cannot
like,
argue on facts, David. So you have to check your facts. That's it.
no, okay. Go look it up right now because I know you have a computer. Go look it up right now.
I did already. I follow it every day. That's
So
what I do.
So please show me the article where you found out that 2 or 3 kilometers a day are
You
being
have to
lost.
read. There are certain things I can send you, and then you read it, and then we'll continue that conversation. Let's
Okay,
switch.
but
Okay, from territorial. Let's switch from territorial question. Then.
No, because right now
No.
we're
They will just lost Pokrovsk, David. It's a
right
big
now,
hub.
There's
You following?
battle went on for a year.
Yeah, but that's done already.
No, Pokrovsk is like 2 kilometers across.
No, it's not
The battle
about
went
that.
on for a year.
It's about what that means for everybody, everything else.
Nothing.
Okay.
No. Don't. Okay.
David,
Listen,
we cannot argue about facts. If we
Yeah.
argue about facts, it's not what we're trying to do here. I'm
That's
sorry.
actually the entire point of debate.
No.
No, because what we're saying is this whole thing is a persuasive argument, right? The viewers are not here to just listen to two takes. They're listening to
No, they
see
can
what
read
take is
Wall
more
Street
backed up.
Journal and read
So-
about losing territory every day.
Wow.
You have to do it too. Because Wall Street Journal saying that. It's
Wall
not
Street
even.
Journal is owned by Rupert Murdoch.
And
It's a
what?
Murdoch family asset.
And
I
what?
don't know what you're talking about. It's not centrist. It's not centrist.
No, it's again. It's definitely not pro-Russian newspaper. So whatever they say about war, they say from Western side. At least the neutral or Western side. And sometimes they present narrative that completely goes contradict Russian accounts. So I'm telling you, if they tell you, they're reporting that Ukraine losing territory, you have to trust them.
I'm not denying that Ukraine's losing territory.
And they give
but
numbers.
not
You read
kilometers
this.
a day.
You read.
Like-
Some directions 2 kilometers, some directions 3 kilometers.
So you don't-
Sometimes they stand still but they are losing every day. That's common knowledge. We
You do
cannot
not
argue about
need, okay, so
common
you do
knowledge,
not need
David.
to, you do not need to be a stated pro-Russian source in order to serve Russian interests. American conservatism
No, they're
fundamentally
trying
serves
to
the
report
interest
you
of Russia.
what's on the war going on. Again, they have correspondence. They have information agencies that also report that. If you read all info, you see what I'm telling you is truth. Ukraine losing territory every day. They're not getting anything back for last 2
Okay.
years.
There's
You
a difference.
understand?
There's a difference between Ukraine is losing territory every day and Ukraine is losing 3 kilometers of territory every day. Because
Depends
this fact
how
amounted.
wide
If
is that
Ukraine,
lost. You have to understand.
if
It's how
Ukraine,
wide is that lost. The front that the Russian got through maybe 2 kilometers wide and 3 kilometers deep. You
if
understand?
Ukraine is losing even 3 square kilometers, we'll say
I
volume. We're
didn't
not
say
even length.
square.
So okay, but three square kilometers is a more like conservative estimate, right? Because
Okay.
then it's more realistic
Yeah.
estimate. Even if we
Yeah.
said 3 square kilometers,
No.
Ukraine would have fallen within
No.
2 years.
Ukraine is
Yes,
huge country. No. And Donbass is huge region. It's not true. It's not
because
true
you
what you're
had
saying. Again,
every year
David,
you would have whole
David,
fractions
we're
of the city.
losing
That's
our
not true.
time for nothing. In all American sources, if you open them officially, and British and European, you'll see, or you watch Euronews, you watch Al Jazeera. They tell you that Ukraine is losing a lot for last 2 years and didn't get anything back. That's the point. Can we move on?
No. The reason we cannot move on, the reason I stay on this point is because you are intentionally using or overestimating the Russian
Forget about
progress
numbers.
in
Let's say
Ukraine
your
to
numbers
hurt.
are truth. Did Ukraine get anything back for last 2 years? Can you give me any
Yes,
geographical place?
yes. In the Donbass and Luhansk, there have been days like every other day that Ukraine
Who
has
told you
made.
that? Where did you get that info? This is full bull.
There have been
It's total
there.
garbage. They
No, I'm
didn't
not
get
saying it is a
anything.
significant amount or is that it's comparable to Russia, but to say that it's nothing is
Okay,
just a lie.
whatever. So let's
So because
let's move on.
it's not a linear thing. There's a nuanced
Okay,
topic, and
David, no
war is a
problem.
very nuanced
Let's
thing.
move on. Let's move on to what to do next. Stop, because
Okay.
we're losing time for nothing.
Because you, at the start of your argument, you met not even argument when you made your opening
Just
statement.
number one point that Ukraine is losing territory every day.
Okay, but
That's the truth. Okay.
But that when we're having a discussion, right? You listed off many points, and I'm trying to address them all.
Okay, so let's
But
adjust
I'm
another. Okay,
okay.
whatever.
All right. So okay,
We
whatever.
just waste a lot of
It's-
time for nothing, David.
I
I'm
don't think
sorry.
it's a waste of time. I think
It is.
the exchange, the verification of information is very
No,
valuable.
from
and it
what
helps-
point? We cannot prove anything to each other, so we just wasted a lot of time. And the audience can read it themselves. They see what I'm saying is truth. It's common knowledge that you're not familiar with those sorts of information. It's not problem of mine or the audience. I'm trying to say that we just wasted a lot of time. Let's continue already. So, out
So
of
what
all
else do you
points
want to-
that I mentioned, what else is what you have like what is contradicting account?
I just I don't think it's fair to say to list off a bunch of points and then to expect me to respond to all your points in one fell swoop.
I'm
Right.
not expecting to
I have to-
respond to all my points. I'm expecting to give ideas of what Zelensky should do now. That's what I'm asking you. That was my question.
I think Zelensky should continue to do exactly what he's been doing for the last few years.
For suicide. Suicide.
So,
In my opinion,
like,
it's suicide.
okay, I respect your opinion, but it's based in not reality, right? Like we
Okay.
could say they've been committing suicide for all this time because every time we've talked about this, we end up at the same place. Say, oh, they're committing suicide, and then we say because when we get into nuance, we're like, oh, just a matter of opinion. No, it's not a matter of opinion. There is a series of facts that we can analyze to determine what is the objectively correct decision for Ukraine foreign policy. It's not like they have no experts. It's not like they don't know what they're doing, right? Ukraine knows that even without the support of the US, which has like healed like a dog to Russian foreign interests ever since the election of Trump, even if US decides to stop supporting Ukraine, which they will not, right? Even if US decides to permanently stop supporting Ukraine, Europe will still continue their support of Ukraine for decades to come. If it
Like
happens.
with what? No intelligence information. The weaponry Europe can provide is not enough for Ukraine. America won't share intelligence and won't give any money anymore. And won't sell the weaponry that Europe requires for Ukraine, for example. So how are they going to continue support Ukraine for decades, as you're saying, if Russia going to continue to do what they're doing and continue to press, even at slower pace as you suggesting, like very slow. But resources are not comparable. So eventually, Ukrainian resources are run out. No?
Can you what exactly are you talking about right now, Dad? Are
You just
Ukrainians
didn't get
willing
what I
to
said? You want me
okay,
to repeat everything?
no, it's not that I want you to repeat everything. The thing is that you're seeing claims that you have not established on anything that is like the way an argument works is that you have to have a logical progression of information. You're going right to the conclusion, right? I don't know what you're talking about because you're just saying things, right? I don't know what you mean by Ukraine is committing suicide because you have like
I just explained to you.
this.
Resources are not comparable.
That's
They
not
will
true.
never be able
But
to
that's
get
simply not
anything
true.
back.
Okay,
Eventually,
but
they run out of resources because
that's
Russia is much more powerful and more resourceful than Ukraine,
but that's
and
the
doesn't
presumption.
depend on foreign help like Ukraine. And they have no Ukraine for next year has $47 billion deficit, not even covered yet for budget.
Oh
Not
no.
yet. Nobody
$47
gave that
billion
money.
deficit. It's wow. Wow. I can't imagine a country that has more than that. Oh, and it still manages to survive and still manages to be
Yeah, but
the
it's
most
not in
successful
war.
country in the world.
But it's
Yes,
not in
we
the
are. We
war.
are.
It depends. The country, Ukraine, the state of Ukraine is depending on foreign help. It's not self-sustainable. You understand? They got to get foreign help. So
Okay.
now, how
But
long Europe
you're
going to
acting on the
pay? How
for as
many
long
years?
for as long as it needs to. Because
You
the
think?
yes, I know. Because
You
you're
know,
operating on the yes, I know. Because you're
French
operating on the
has a
assumption
deficit of $44 billion
I can't
and
talk. No, I'll stop talking now. Don't worry. Go ahead. You can talk
no,
forever.
but
I
hold
don't
on.
need to talk
You
because you
just
just have
said
everything to say.
you just
I'm
said
sorry.
something, David. You just said something. I'm reacting to it. You said that Europe gonna do it forever. France cannot accept a budget and lost three governments consecutive in 1 year just to close a gap of $44 billion.
Okay.
How are they gonna do it?
So we're having a discussion.
Yes.
So you can't just interrupt me at every single thing I
Oh,
say
I'm
and
sorry.
react
You're right.
because
You're right.
every time I try to
You're
react
right.
what
You're
you're
right.
reacting to,
Okay.
then you start getting in a fight. And I like, why don't you
Okay.
just do what I do and respond after I'm done talking?
Okay.
So
You're right.
Europe has proven to be able to sustain Ukraine, even like in theory, should be able to sustain Ukraine without the help of the United States, without the intelligence or the weapons manufacturing of the United States, because even a lot of the weapons that come from the United States are manufactured in European countries, right?
I'm not
Like
sure.
it,
Like what?
like Springfield Armory, like a lot of these technologies are produced in European countries,
Like what?
I just gave you an example. I don't know. I don't know
Uh,
every single
I don't know what even you
weaponry
said,
company.
but
Uh,
I believe you. Maybe some.
okay.
Okay. No. No. Okay.
But yeah, like uh, Europe has shown that they have met. They're on the same level. All of Europe combined is on the same level as the amount of aid that the United States has provided, and I think it's ridiculous, in my opinion, to only talk about the attrition that Ukraine is suffering from without taking into account the attrition that Russia is suffering from as well, because they have suffered insane attrition. Their troops are also shown to have been deserting and their desertion rates have significantly increased since in the recent
Maybe.
times of the war.
Not
So
gonna argue.
if Ukraine is managing to keep this war at a stalemate and will be able to for the next projected like 6 years at least, then Russia will also face the same problems in here.
True.
And
Six
all of
years, you're
Europe,
saying.
at least 6 years,
So you're suggesting to Zelensky to continue?
if Zelensky, because right now the agreement that Zelensky is being asked to agree on is completely ridiculous because it meets all of the Russian demands right now. Like for example, why would Ukraine agree not to join NATO?
Because that was an
Like,
underlying cause of war.
okay, but why
One
would they
of
agree
them.
not to join
One
NATO?
of them.
But okay, but in practical terms, why would they agree not to join NATO? Imagine you are Ukraine.
Mm.
You've been at war for 4 years. No matter
Hmm.
what you think the circumstances, like what you think, the cause of the war is, you've been at war for 4 years.
Hmm.
The only thing that could prevent you from going into war in the future is being in NATO.
Not necessarily. There are other things can prevent from going to war again. There's no
There is
trust between
no,
sides.
there is
But
no.
Russia won't
So
agree
let's
to it, so they're going to continue to war. So you won't become a NATO member till war is over. You understand? So it's like catch 22. You
Yeah,
want to be a NATO member.
that's the
Let
point
me
of
let me build let me build a line, and then
okay.
you answer, respond.
Okay.
You just said that why should they
Yeah.
not why should they abstain from joining the NATO? If they won't abstain, Russia won't stop the war. If Russia won't stop the war, they will never be NATO member because NATO member cannot be a country that right now at the war that will never be able to join NATO according to uh, the founding papers of NATO.
It is I think it is insanity to
It's
suggest
catch
that
22.
yeah, obviously Ukraine wouldn't join NATO before the war ends. It would be a condition of the end of the war for
Oh,
Ukraine,
oh,
right? Like Ukraine wouldn't join, you can't join NATO as a country at war, no matter who you are,
exactly.
right?
That's what I
So
said.
so one of the terms for Ukraine would be that Ukraine can join NATO.
But for that, they got to be winning, but they're not winning.
No, they don't.
No?
No, you
So
don't have to be winning.
Russia started aggression in February 22,
Yeah.
with one of the goals that Ukraine will never be able to join NATO.
Okay, well, too
So
bad. You got bogged down, and you have to end the war. So you got to
unless
bite the bullet and accept the terms.
But Russia is winning for now.
Stop. That
No,
there
Russia
is
is not winning right now. You
reason.
say
Yeah. So it loops back to the discussion, right? Russia is not winning by
no?
any measurable statistic. They're not winning. Like I said
They
before, it would
got
take
20%
decades
of
for them.
Ukrainian territory, David.
Yeah.
But they got
Okay.
right now 20% of Ukrainian territory altogether, and Ukraine is not getting that back. Till last 2 years, they couldn't.
But they moved. But the standard of winning for Russia, the goalpost has been moved many times
Whatever,
over.
but it's
At first,
winning.
the standard for Russia winning was a complete fall of
We're
Ukraine,
not going to
and
waste what it was. I'm telling you right now, what's right now. Don't waste time. Again, we're not going to go in that rabbit hole. Stay focused on current situation, just current situation. They're not getting anything back. And if they want to, by the end of the war, still have that right to join NATO, that war will never end till they say, no, we're not going to join. From a Russian side. Or Russia is forced to stop, but who can force Russia to stop the war? That's the question.
nobody has to force them. They have to eventually. Russia will, under some circumstances, either run out of manpower, run out of the availability to fight the war. Uh,
Hmm. That country,
but,
David, will never come to that position. From what we know of history of this country, it's never happened before. I'm sorry.
Russia. There's been no point in Russia. I guess you could say Crimean War, but Russia lost Crimean.
No, lose, yes. They can lose, but they will never lose the ability to continue the war.
That when we're talking about, so either we're talking about the president or we're not, right? That's why I'm saying this history does not happen in a vacuum. We have to look at the
You're
historical
right.
limits of this.
You're right.
And if we're
That
going to
in that
say,
you're right.
oh, Russia does not cannot lose a war like this because historically they have never lost a war like this. Okay, well, Russia has never fought a war of attrition like this before. Like Russia has fought grand scale wars, which have been like all or nothing bets, but here it's like a slow death thing, right?
You're
For
right.
both
Oh,
sides.
you're right. So if you would be an advisor to Zelensky, you would tell him right now, continue.
Until the terms get better. Because right now these terms are ridiculous. Right
And if they're
now,
not getting better and getting worse, what then?
then definitely don't accept. Because there would be no
No,
reason for the terms to get worse, right? Like
no.
it's
I'm telling you why it can happen. Because the front is very wide. It's 1,000 kilometers wide. The
mm,
battle line is 1,000 kilometers wide, and they don't have enough manpower to sustain that front line, according
well,
to many military experts right now. So certainly somewhere is going to be breakthrough.
I
Let's
mean the
say by February, if we come back to the discussion in war still on till February, we might see a big difference comparing to today's pace of war and what's going on. Because they don't have enough manpower, and both of them have problems with manpower. You're right, absolutely. Russian side also has that problem, but they're more resourceful. They have more.
I don't know where we got this from. Where did we
Russia
get
has
the
more manpower. I mean, that's statistics.
more resourceful or has more resources?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, yeah, more resources.
Well, when you take into account, well, first of all, there's a cost benefit analysis, right? Is Russia willing to sacrifice all the people it would need to drain Ukrainian manpower completely, right? Because at that point, you might face severe like civil unrest
You think?
if you use all the soldiers necessary. Like theoretically, yes, if they wanted to have a meat grinder until Ukrainians ran out of people first, maybe they could do that. But then there would be so many dead Russian men.
So you
That
think
they
in
would
this
be,
war they won't have enough patience? I mean, Russians to push through for all years requires to make Ukraine agree to those terms.
well, I
That's
think
basically what you say.
yeah, I think it's a factor to consider, and I think it's pretty important.
Okay, let's stop at this. Maybe we'll see. Maybe that's what Europeans also think. But I think, in my opinion, again, that it's just suicidal. It's better to, because for me, from my understanding, let me say, for Ukraine, the victory would be to retain independence and retain state after that war. If they do it, they fine.
But from Ukraine's perspective, the only way to retain independence and like self-determination is by joining NATO and being under protection of the
There are
West.
better ways. There are better ways. Like if you have a contract with United States and thousands of American personnel on border with Russia, and the same, you have thousands American personnel on the other side of the border, and you have hundreds of billions of dollars invested both in Ukraine and Russia for joint project partnership, it's better.
Russia would not agree to that, though.
They
Because
do.
that's the very,
They
that's the
will.
very thing.
They will. They
That's
already
the very
said
thing
that.
Russia has been trying to avoid, right? Because in practice, that would be like joining NATO. Right now, Russia
No
has been trying
business
to use you.
interests. No military. No military. Civilians.
You just said put thousands of troops on the border.
Not troops, personal.
Personnel,
Commercial.
military personnel.
Diggers. People of business.
How would that guarantee the self-determination?
It's not. If you have that on both sides and all sides are interested in business and making money, it's pretty nice. By the way, it's a very liberal idea. That's what works.
But liberalism, economic liberalism is where it's fell short because you're relying on the business interests, which can collapse very easily. Business interests and the economy are
On
generally
what?
very
On
unstable
the
things.
resources business interest, on oil, on rare earth that they have both there in that area. I don't think it's going to collapse. It's
Well, it
American
depends.
interest to support it.
It depends on the accessibility of the oil and the rare earth.
Oh,
right?
again,
So
you're right.
if
But it
event-
takes hundreds of billions dollars investment.
and
And Russia.
imagine Russia finds a new giant oil and rare earth mineral pocket. Then they're like, oh well, we don't need this partnership. with
No,
Ukraine.
everybody needs it's
Like,
real
it's-
money. Everybody want to make money together.
That it
Why
is-
not?
It is cruel. It is dystopian and unrealistic to rely on business, which is famously one of the most unstable things and exploitative things.
Okay.
To
You can get other guarantees without joining NATO. You can have demilitarized zones. You can have monitors, international troops like blue casks of United Nations in the demilitarized zone, satellite monitoring, drone monitoring. A lot of stuff can be
but that's
done.
not. But okay, you're presenting these as better solutions than
But
joining
the NATO, yeah, because Russia will not accept NATO. It's
But-
going to continue to fight the war.
But the UN peacekeepers are a famously incompetent organization that have not.
On what? On just dividing side, no problem.
No, they're very
Okay.
doing that.
Different, call it different force. Don't call United
What
Nations.
international force? Okay, so what if Russia does decide to invade? What would the international force do?
Again, what is what?
So what if Russia decides to invade again? What would the international force do?
Invasion doesn't happen in vacuum. Invasion happens with preparations.
Mhm.
And you see them because you're monitoring the situation.
And
There's
okay,
a demilitarized zone.
This
We
sounds
have-
like what happened before the Rwanda genocide. Like what would happen? What would they do about it if they saw that they were?
They report there's a military build-up, and then Ukraine will have time to prepare. Again, listen,
That doesn't guarantee American self-determination,
David.
Ukrainian
We have
self-determination at
10
all.
minutes. We have only 9 minutes left. Unfortunately, that's how it works. I heard you. Everybody heard you. Don't worry about it. Your position about NATO understood, but please understand my position. Russia will not stop the war unless Ukraine abstains from NATO.
Okay, good luck with that to Russia. I don't know what to tell you. Like if Russia wants to keep pursuing this goal, good luck. But it's a ridiculous thing to ask because throughout these entire 4 years, Ukraine has said every time we want to be able to join NATO, we want our land back,
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
want to keep our military because
Yeah.
anything else would be punished for getting invaded, right?
Yeah.
It would be a punishment for being invaded, and that's ridiculous. So and
No,
Ukraine has-
it's not punishment. It's consequence of losing the war.
They're not losing the war.
No,
No.
Okay.
They're not losing the war.
That's we
Let's not-
cannot
what the-
agree upon.
Okay,
Okay,
like,
they're
for
not
example-
losing the war.
for example,
Okay, they're
in the
they're
Revolutionary
not
War-
losing. Let's
for exa-
pretend they're not.
Okay, no, stop.
But they lost territories and they cannot get it back.
Let's imagine, like, let's use this example. In the Revolutionary War, in American Revolution, Britain held control of New York City and most of the South for the entire war. They held a lot of American territory, more than 20% even. And they still knew that they were losing because it just wasn't worth it. Territory is not the only measure by which you are winning the war.
Yeah, there's a very important difference between those two wars. Britain, about 7,000 miles offshore. Ukraine is on the border. Don't forget about that.
How did that change my example, though?
It's changed because Russia will annexing territories and it's going to be already Russia. It's already according to Russian constitution. Donetsk and Lugansk annexed. And wherever they took, they just use, as the Russian Empire did in the past, they just annexed and continue. That's not okay. It's got to be stopped now. Like all places Russian Empire left, they got with that part, with them, they got some part of the territory they were leaving. So they have it in Finland, in Poland, eventually, in Georgia now, and now in Ukraine. So, but they didn't invade again.
So now we're going into, like, this
History.
now we're going into, like, legends and, like,
It's not
and,
legends.
like,
Look at the history. Look at the map now. Look at the map and history.
I'm not
There.
denying that these parts used to be part of the Russian Empire, but the Russian Empire is not a not a political entity that exists anymore. And
Right. You're right.
and these
Absolutely
places that
right.
have split from Russia do not want to be do not want
Absolutely.
anything to do with Russia.
Always
Right?
like that.
Except
It's
for, like,
always like
Kazakhstan
that.
and the parts
It's
of-
always with any empire like that. When the
Why do you
leaves,
think these empires should be reformed? Why do you think Britain should reclaim all of its colonies in
no,
Africa? Do you think
because they're really
like-
colony, but that is different from Russian territory. It's never been colonized.
Yes, it has been
Oh
colonized.
no, it's not colonized.
Yes, Russia
It's on
has
the border.
historically- no.
Colonies are overseas.
So Ireland wasn't a colony of Britain?
It's not a colony.
Ireland was not a
Ireland
colony
is
of
not
Britain.
a
You're going to tell me that Ireland
It's
was
not a
a colony.
colony.
So now we're going
America
into
was a
historical-
colony.
we're
I'm
going into,
sorry.
like, basic
Ireland
history
was
now.
not a colony. But that's a different argument. Time left is 6 minutes. What we're going to talk? Listen, last 6 minutes. Okay, Ukraine, we continue. Don't worry. We're not stopping Ukraine conversations. Now we're going to start every stream from Ukraine with Ukraine conversations with info.
I don't see the point because the argument is circular because we can't agree on anything. Because
We will agree. Don't worry.
Every time we're
Eventually.
starting to get someone, you switch the topic, right?
We will agree. We will agree.
Okay.
I agree with you that it's war of attrition. This is very resource consuming and it's hard for both sides. I agree with you. On this, I agree with you. I don't know if your advice to Zelensky is like solid advice, but he can think that. And if he continues, who knows what's going to happen in a month from now or two.
You said that on the last few podcasts.
No, what I'm saying. Exactly. Nobody knows. So maybe you'll be right. And Russia will decide, listen, we don't want to continue like that anymore. Or maybe situation in Russia will become unstable, which I don't believe, though, but anything possible. We don't know what's in 2 months. So Zelensky can continue as long as people of Ukraine will let him do it, right?
Yeah.
Right. The problem with people of Ukraine who don't want to let him do it anymore and want to sign the peace treaty, they cannot re-elect him or tell him that directly because it's it's martial law in Ukraine.
Are you
And
saying
there's
Ukraine should
no
not have martial law?
elections. We're coming back. So what with elections? 2 months he needs, he said, right?
Yeah, to pass the law that would allow it to happen. Because
Let
that's
him do
politics.
it.
Yeah.
Let him do election. But he'll win elections.
Yeah, because his popularity in Ukraine is like insane. He is not.
I don't know. The corruption scandal is very bad. It's very bad.
Yeah, I'm not denying that they have corruption.
Huh?
I'm not denying that they have corruption.
Listen, they stole
we're talking
100
about-
million.
We're talking about the Russo-Ukrainian war. Like,
No,
there's clearly
David,
more corruption in one
David,
of the countries.
David, but
I'm
the
sorry.
country that is waging war and have electricity turned off for 15, 16 hours a day,
Mhm.
they're getting contracts for repairing electric grid, and they steal $100 million American dollars from that contracts in different forms. You know that the case, right?
What are you
And the
talking
guy who was doing this left Ukraine. He was a producer of Zelensky entertainment company, the 95th Quartal, that Zelensky was used to make money with. He was a close associate of President Zelensky himself, and he left the country. And the months before, 2 months before, Zelensky was trying to close those anti-corruption bureaus and prosecutor's attorney's office, independent attorney's office, that was created specially to investigate corruption cases. And under pressure from West and from Ukrainians, he made a law closing them, and then he passed another law opening them again. And they came for the office of president. So a couple of ministers who were involved in this, they stole $100 million from money that was as help to Ukraine, was given to Ukraine to repair electric grid in a wartime when Ukrainians are dying on the front.
Never in American history has America cared about the level of like sanctity that the government holds about anti-corruption of any regime that it backs or supports. I don't think that we should start now when it's most important, right? Like this is the ultimate proxy war, and when we're facing Russia, and America is one of the
America
most
doesn't
corrupt
want
countries in the
Ukraine
world.
as a proxy against Russia. America want to now, according to new security doctrine, have strategic stability with Russia, which is correct, in my opinion. Should be strategic stability with the country with 6,500 nuclear warheads. It's a better way to coexist than have a proxy war with this country, David.
Like now we're switching to like, are we talking about Ukrainian corruption, or are we talking about how dangerous?
No,
Russia
I'm
is?
just saying that it's not about that they about so concerned with corruptions. They don't want Ukraine as a proxy. They want to end the war, Trump. And now he sees that those money given by Biden and after and before and during the war, they are not properly maintained, and they stolen sometimes, a lot.
Okay.
And that I heard the Trump's son speaking on Doha Forum. He's saying, "Look, control should be enacted. It should be under control. But they
Trump's
can't
son?
control money when they got to Ukraine because it's like,
What did you say? Trump's son?
yeah, Donald Trump Jr.
What
He was speaking at Doha Forum.
Who cares?
No, he's
Why are we
close to
bringing him on?
he close to
Like,
president.
like
That's
now,
position. His position
let's-
is position of the president.
yeah, like even then, let's say like it even mattered. Like even the Congress chooses the amount of money to allocate to Ukraine.
True.
If Ukraine is surviving off of that, then the goal is succeeding.
You're right. But they're stealing from this too.
I understand that a few $1 billion getting siphoned off is terrible, right? And obviously it's corrupt.
1
and
minute,
the Ukrainian
David.
government is not perfect by any means.
You're right.
But if America is choosing how much money to send and that amount of money is working, then I don't see how big of a problem this is.
We'll come back to this conversation. Guys, thank you very much for being with us. David, thank you very much for participation. Sorry for heated argument at a certain point. We'll have to check our sources again, and next time on the stream, we'll be more prepared with numbers. But again, the different side of this story, so we'll come back with the continuing conversation on Ukraine. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.